All right, so we're going to start off and spend the bulk of our time talking about roles and responsibilities. Um, First of all, the athletic job description. This is on our website. And the basic role of an athletic director is to provide leadership to the overall athletic program, as well as to manage the details necessary for successful day-to-day operations. So that's big picture stuff and day to day. The numerous activities such as scheduling, procuring and expending funds, contest management, supervising and evaluating personnel, facility management, conflict management. An effective athletic director will relieve the principal from some of the responsibilities in this area. Since the interscholastic program is one of the most visible school programs to the public, the leadership phase of athletic administration becomes paramount. Athletic directors must devote the time to effectively manage a program that addresses the needs of stakeholders. As you may know, the athletic director job is it's a big job. There's a lot that comes with it, but I'm here and our office is here to help support you as best we can. The job description, I'm not going to read everything here word for word again. I'm going to send this out to you afterwards. Um, some of the things you're going to work closely with school administration. You should be talking to your principal, assistant principals uh, often about what is happening with athletics. Um, Making sure you and your coaches are following rules and regulations, um, professional organization involvement, um, enforce district athletic department rules. Um, if you have a booster club or you are looking to have a booster club, you should be a liaison for that, making sure you know what's happening with the booster club. Um, Verifying officials assignments. Make sure you have officials for your games. That's through Arbiter. Um, Making sure that your athletes are supervised. Making sure you have buses for transportation. These are just some of the things that you're responsible for. And again, not going to read all of these to you, but I will email this to you afterwards. There are legal duties that have been set for an athletic director, also for coaches, and they're very similar. Um, and so these things are things that legally you are responsible for. And, you know, when it comes to litigation, these are some of the things that have come up when um, the schools have been sued for different things. So, duty to plan, supervise, select, train, and supervise coaches. So you need to make sure you know what your coaches are doing after you hire them. Um, Provide proper technique and instruction. Provide warnings. Safe play environment. Protective athletic equipment. So making sure your equipment is not defective, that everything's working properly to make sure that athletes are safe, evaluating the conditioning of athletes, uh, evaluate injuries and incapacities, match and equate athletes, provide immediate medical assistance, develop an emergency medical response plan, provide safe transportation, and disclose insurance coverage and other information. We also have an athletic director code of conduct. Make sure you're never placing winning above character development of student athletes. Uphold honor and integrity of the coaching profession with student athletes, officials, school administrators, state national athletic associations, media, and the public at large. Advocate and promote prevention of drug, alcohol, and tobacco use among coaches and students. Endorse and comply with the school's district's athletic policies and procedures to ensure that athletic activities administered by you will reflect integrity of the school district's philosophies. So make sure you know what the school district and state philosophies and policies are so that you and your coaches are able to follow them. And that goes along with the next one, make sure to comply with athletic context regulations, require good citizenship and sportsmanship. And that's one of the big things that we've been dealing with lately is making sure that not only your students, but also your coaches understand what it means to be a good citizen and sportsmanlike. Respect the decisions of the contest officials. Meet and exchange greetings with the visiting teams. Encourage and persuade faculty to not provide special treatment for student athletes. Comply with local, state, and national regulations about scouting other opponents. Supervise and remain with student athletes during and after competitions. Make sure your coaches are doing that. Conduct preseason sports meetings and seek professional development opportunities. And this is one professional development opportunity that you have already attended. So thank you for being here. All right, and this is, some of you have been through this training before. This next section is one that I've added for this year. Just some specific things that you're going to need to be thinking about as you go through the year as an athletic director. One of the big things is going to be finances. And this is not everything you're responsible for, but these are some things that are really important. So thinking about your finances, where are you currently with finances? What kind of money is in the budget or in your accounts now? How are you going to raise money and have your coaches and student athletes raise money to increase the funds available? How are you going to sell tickets, whether that's during the day at the event itself? A lot of times, one of the things people sometimes miss is thinking ahead, like about playoff and how are you going to fund those travel needs when we get to the playoffs. And then thinking ahead about equipment and uniform needs and making sure that you're being equitable across the board. So the basketball team is not getting new uniforms every season while the soccer team has uniforms that are 7 years old. Making sure there's equity in ordering. Thinking about managing your coaches and just logistics for the year. Some of the things you'll be thinking about are planning meetings for coaches. So that's coach meetings that you're having with your coaches, whether that's group meetings or individual meetings. And then meetings the coaches will be having with student athletes and parents. It's a really good idea to have a athletic manual or some kind of document that has coaches' expectations. And the session 2 that I mentioned earlier, which will be again July 30th, those two things will be going a little more in depth on those in that meeting. Another big thing is making sure your coaches are in compliance with all of the courses that they have to take, which are listed on our website as well as TSSAA website. And then you have all the appropriate paperwork for athletes that is organized and you're able to retrieve that and know where everything is. Team schedules, and how are you going to let people know what those schedules are, whether it's publishing on a website, social media, buses, whether it's you actually ordering the buses or communicating with somebody else at the school who's ordering the buses, making sure that transportation's taken care of. Thinking about your different teams and practice schedules, you might have multiple teams trying to use the gym, so making sure that you're working with your coaches to make sure not only there's no conflicts, but that different teams are getting equitable use of the gym or whatever facility you have. Thinking about tournaments and out of town trips and plans for that. And I would always consider having a master calendar where you have just everything, games, practices, meetings, events for your school, kind of to keep everybody on the same page. And then just thinking about all the things that come into a game day, whether or not you're going to have a pep rally. What's that pep rally going to look like? Are you providing food for your teams? And again, there should be equity with that, not just your football team. But, and by the way, for MSCS schools, the nutrition department does have a program to provide game day meals. If you're not aware of that, you can look into that. How are you going to announce your games on social media? Arrival and setup at the games. Thinking about the visiting team, making sure they know where their bus should drop them off, where the bus should park. That you're communicating well with them about how things are going to work at your facility. Same thing with the officials, making sure they have a place to go. Make sure you're escorting or having security escort them on and off. Providing water and making sure you have a plan for paying those officials in a timely manner. How are you going to do ticketing? How are you going to manage crowd control? And of course, all these things you're not doing by yourself, but you need to have a plan to make sure that everything's being taken care of. Concession, safety, security, making sure you have an emergency action plan. Thinking about fan engagement. How are you making the experience as good as you can for your fans? And then what's happening at the end of the game with the supervision of students and any cleanup that might be necessary. And then just specifically about concession stands, if you're helping to run that or at least managing the people that are running the concession stand, make sure you think about who's getting the food and how, and setting everything up, tearing everything down, who's working the concession stand, how are you making sure the money is secure, things like that. And then lastly, just thinking about different special events that you'll want to have throughout the year, whether that's homecoming. Some schools do benefit games, or thinking about playoff games and sending teams off as they go to playoffs, banquets or award ceremonies. If you have any athletes that are signing, how are you promoting that? And then your senior night. So just thinking about when those things would be and how you're going to execute those. And again, not trying to do it all yourself, recruiting people to help you with these things as well. One thing that we do for the district is tracking students through PowerSchool. So this is where you're going to enter your rosters in PowerSchool. And I'll be sending out at another date instructions on how to do that, and there will be a training session. But the purpose of it is so we can kind of look at athletes compared to the general population. So basically, athletic directors are responsible for entering all sports rosters into Power School, and I will be giving you deadlines for that. It's usually about a week after you have to enter those rosters into TSSAA. For new ADs, we'll need to get you access. So you might have a teacher access to Power School, but you'll need an administrator access. So anybody that doesn't currently have access for your school, for MSCS schools, I can request that. So if you don't have administrator Power School access for your school, just shoot me an email after this meeting to remind me to request that for you. So for charter schools, if you use Power School, you are going to do this, but I don't know if I can request access for you. Go ahead and send me an email if you need that access, and I'll send it to my contact, and either she'll be able to get you the right access, or maybe can tell me who you might need to talk to at your school. So for it, even for charter schools, if you don't use Power School at your school, then don't worry about it. But if you're using Power School for charters or MSCS, just send me an email if you don't already have administrator access, and I'll help you get access as best I can. There is a video tutorial on our website, but also there will be a work session that I'll give you the dates for in just a little bit. So for each season, fall, winter, spring, there is a deadline. And again, it's usually a week after your TSSAA is due. But I'll be sending you reminders out about that. Our website, if you're not familiar with it, is there's a lot of information there that can help you. So again, I'm covering a lot today. I don't expect you to remember all of it, but most of the things that I'm covering, a lot of what I'm covering is on our website. So some of the things you'll find is just information about each sport. Our constitution and bylaws are on the website. There's something called an AD toolbox, which has a lot of information specifically for ADs. Athletic health services is kind of where you'll find information about emergency action plans and all of the responsibilities and requirements for whether it's classes and paperwork for your coaches as well as student athletes, that things that have to be completed. All of that is on our website. There's a calendar with important dates, your individual school schedules, and then there's AD video series that we've started a couple years ago that has a lot of specific content about common issues that ADs have. So there's about 20 videos that are each anywhere from 3 to 7 minutes long. So they're all pretty short, but that's one thing you can look at. And so that's when you go to our website, sciaa.org. The AD videos are at the top. You can see where you find the calendar. Health services, again, is where you're going to find all the requirements for coaches and athletes. The AD toolbox, just a lot of information there. And you may or may not be able to see this, but these are all the videos that are currently on our website. So again, I think it's currently 19 different videos about how to enter and your rosters in Power School, or just an overview of our website, effective communication, building culture, things like that. And again, the health services tab is where all of your coaches and student requirements are listed. And keep in mind that those are requirements that should be in place before your coaches have any practices and your students attend any practices. So whether it's physicals, courses that the coaches have to take, all that needs to be done before the first practice. So in addition to our website, the TSSAA is another website you're going to use. And just, I think sometimes people get confused. We are not the TSSAA. We are members of TSSAA, just like you are, but we are a separate organization. But the TSSAA portal is where you're going to enter schedules, rosters, eligibility. Our office, MSCIAA, does not deal with eligibility. That's all with TSSAA. And again, this is just some links that are helpful on the TSSAA side. And again, you'll be able to click on these links when I send this PowerPoint to you after we're done. If you're not familiar with the NIAAA or the TIAAA, that's the National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association and the Tennessee Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association. This is the professional organization for athletic administrators. And of course, the Tennessee one is the professional organization for Tennessee athletic administrators. You do have the option of joining when you do your initial membership with in the TSSAA portal. There's something you got to fill out in the TSSAA portal for membership, and you can join these organizations through that. But this is where you can get additional professional development, training, education. There's a national conference every year, a local conference that's going to be in Franklin, Tennessee this year. Can't remember where the national conference is going to be, but that's usually in December. The state conference is going to be in April. And there's just a wealth of resources on those websites. And the training of professional development that's offered through NIAAA and TIAAA is really helpful if you're looking to grow and get better at what you're doing. And is Chandra Evans? I'm going to put you on the spot because I know you went to the national conference this year and the Tennessee conference this year. Would you just quickly unmute? Would you mind just kind of telling your experience with NIAAA and TIAAA?
All right. Can y'all hear me?
I can hear you.
I was fortunate enough to attend the national conference and the state conference, and both were beneficial. The national conference is huge, can be overwhelming, and I went to that one first before the state conference. But great opportunity to network with other athletic directors in other states and other regions of the world, of the country, and just to see what other programs are doing. Great networking for finding products for your program as well with vendors and that type of thing. Great sessions and learning. I took a couple of classes and sessions to learn and grow from other athletic directors. And the state conference was really more personal and in touch. I knew more people there, and then it was our home state. So it was a great experience getting to know more people there, and making those connections is important. I've been working on stuff for this year. This is year 2 for me. I told Reed I wanted to jump in here, even though I'm not a new AD, I still feel very new. But I've learned so much from this last year, and the connections that I've made, especially at the TIAAA conference with other ADs in the state of Tennessee, I've been able to communicate with other ADs, and they give me ideas, and we bounce ideas off of each other, and then get information and help and support. And we text and call each other all day and night. Been able to connect with women in athletic directors, be a part of that as well. It's just been great mentorship, great people willing to help. Like Reed said, it's not an easy job, but there's so many people that are willing to help and support you that you cannot fail. So I was grateful to be able to attend both.
Yeah, so I know that the state conference is in April in Franklin, Tennessee. India, are you on here? And do you know when the national conference is?
I can look it up. Oh, go ahead.
Is it usually in December?
It's usually in
usually in
December. I can't
December.
remember
So
where
here's
it is this year.
The TIAAA, I dropped that one in the chat. I'll drop the December conference in the chat as well. I mean, the national conference. I'll drop it in the chat.
And yeah, before we move on, just like Chandra said, it's a big job being an athletic director. Having that support, having other people that are going through the same things you're going through to help you and just to bounce ideas off of is invaluable. Nobody can do this job on your own. And we're here to help, but also there's people across the state, across the country that are very willing to help as well and are going through the same things you're going through. I remember the first national conference I went to, there were some issues that we were dealing with here in Memphis that I thought we were the only ones dealing with, and found people were talking about the same issues nationwide. And really, even though it's called the National Interscholastic Athletic Administrative Association, it's actually worldwide. There are international athletic administrators that attend that as well. And so those are, if you can only do one, do the local one, but in Franklin, but the national conference, if you're ever able to go, is a really a great experience. And here's just some upcoming dates. Not going to read these to you. I'm going to send this to everybody when we're done. But one thing, if you have football at your school, the 16th, we have a meeting. Make sure your football coaches are aware of that. That's for both middle school and high school. And actually, that's for golf as well. So golf and football, all coaches here at 10 a.m. On the 16th. Also, if you have golf, your eligibility, which when I say eligibility, that's rosters and schedules and things that are due in the TSSAA portal. And again, I'm not going to read all of these things to you, but it's for your reference when I send this out later. We do have our main AD conference here on the 30th. So make plans to attend that. Also, earlier in the day is when we have our second AD session. And again, that's completely different information than what's on this meeting. This meeting is really more about logistics. And that second meeting, I try to make more about kind of how to build culture and things like that at your school. If you're at a charter school, we also have a charter school meeting on the 30th. So that 30th, we have a lot going on. So make sure you're ready for that. And then the following week, on August 5th, we have our fall coaches meeting. So that's for all other fall coaches other than football and golf. In addition to the meetings that we have, TSSAA has required meetings as well. For football, that's on July 21st. The in-person meetings, they usually have those at Memphis University School. And these are just the ones that are on the schedule now for fall and winter. And they've moved a lot of those to virtual meetings. And there's just a window when your coaches have to complete those. So this is just an overview of when those meetings are for both fall and winter. Of course, you we'll have meetings for spring as well, but those will be later in the year. There are a few laws that have come across somewhat recently, over the last 5 or 6 years. One is related to foster care. Basically, when a student is in foster care, they and they have a new placement in your school district, they should be immediately eligible. Another important and somewhat controversial law to be aware of is sex at birth. So in Tennessee, athletes are required to participate in a sport with according to their sex at birth, not necessarily according to what they currently identify as, but what their sex at birth is, and that's a Tennessee state law. And then also military family law is similar to the foster care law in that barriers are removed from participation in athletics for families that are moving due to military deployment. And when it comes to those laws, we are not the experts. We do have general counsel. If you have any questions related to laws and athletics, you can always reach out to them. Or if you reach out to us, we may forward you on to them if it's something dealing with a legal matter. But if you don't already have that email address written down, you might want to have it for your records in case you do ever have any legal issues that you're dealing with. Getting close to the end, one thing that I think has been very helpful for a lot of athletic directors is the AD checklist, and on our website, it's under the AD toolbox. And it's just not an all-inclusive list, but a list of things to be thinking about throughout the year. And it's kind of divided of things you should be doing in the summer, August, so on and so forth, month by month, the things you should be working on and thinking about. Again, not all inclusive, but it's a good tool to refer to just to kind of make sure you're not missing anything. One thing that one of my colleagues, Priscilla Jeffries, has come up with, and has been very helpful, is the 4 COs. And this is just to make sure that your contests go off without any issues, making sure you have officials, that your schedule is correct. And by the way, whether you're new or returning, you'll notice some changes to our website. Arbiter has actually bought our website, so it was kind of two different things, but now our website's kind of merged with Arbiter. So what's on Arbiter should be also what you see on our website. And if anything's incorrect, it's probably incorrect on both places. So make sure you're checking that very often, like every couple days. Make sure you're communicating with your opponents, that they're on the same page as you as far as your games, of where it's going to be and when it's going to be. If you have any issues after checking the schedule and talking to your opponents, definitely reach out to our office well before your contest. Sometimes we get calls just within an hour or two before the contest, and it's almost too late or often too late at that point. So make sure that you're kind of looking ahead, making sure your schedules are correct, making sure your opponents are on the same page. And there is a video that you can watch in our video library on our website that will help you with that as well. And then lastly, you should be the expert on athletics in your building. So make sure you're familiar with what's on our website, what's on the TSSAA website, the Constitution and bylaws. Both TSSAA and MSCIAA have Constitution and bylaws that you can review on our websites. And by the way, the TSSAA Constitution and bylaws do change a little bit every year, and there are a few significant changes with their bylaws this year, particularly as it relates to transfer students. So make sure you're familiar with that. And the new constitution and bylaws is now on the TSSAA website. It's just shown up over the last couple of days. So even if you were already familiar with what was in there before, make sure you look at it again. Especially pay particular attention to the transfer rules because those have changed significantly. Also, know that we're here to help. Never hesitate to reach out to our office if you have questions or need help. Know that there are veteran athletic directors in this district, and like we talked about earlier, throughout the state and throughout the country that are willing to help. You're not doing this alone. You can't do this alone. Don't try to do this alone. Use those supports that are here for you. And again, we already talked about the NIAAA and TIAAA events and all of the resources that are available through those organizations for you. The NFHS Learn website is another one where you can gain knowledge. There are, of course, some required courses for you and your coaches to take on that website, but also there's others that can be helpful there as well. With all of the resources that are available to you, not knowing is not an excuse. If you ever don't know, reach out. We're here to help. And there's a lot of others that are wanting and able to help as well. We've been through a lot just now. Again, I'm going to send this out to you. Thank you for being on here. Before we get off, does anybody have any questions? So is TACA a good investment? It definitely has some benefits. I don't think in this city as many people use it as they do throughout the state. But a couple of the benefits that I'm aware of is one, there is insurance that comes along with a TACA membership. We talked earlier about legal issues there are legal issues that can come up in athletics and certainly as an athletic director. So TACA does have insurance that can help with that if you ever are in a legal issue. TACA also can help you get access to sporting events throughout the state. Mostly in the city, your school ID will work to get you into sporting events. But outside of MSCIAA schools, you do get a couple of TSSAA badges that can help with that. But TACA, particularly when you get to playoffs, those passes can help you. So I personally never joined TACA in my current position or when I was at a school, but I do know there are some benefits. So yeah. Any other questions? Is there flag football for middle school? So from this TSSAA, flag football currently is for high school. I think there are some middle schools that may be doing flag football. Our office, the MSCIAA office, does not currently support flag football for either middle or high school. We do have schools that participate in flag, but we just have not gotten the approval to support it from our office yet. So currently, as far as I know, from the state TSSAA, flag is for high school. I do think there are some middle schools that have started playing flag football just kind of on their own. From our office, there's not currently any supports for flag football.
If
The
you,
AD checklist, somebody's asked where to find that. So if you go to our website, sciaa.org, there's a tab called AD Toolbox. Click on the AD Toolbox, and the AD checklist is within the AD Toolbox, along with other helpful resources. All right. Any other questions? If you don't have my contact information, India just put the AD checklist, a link to it in the chat. Office number, cell number, and my email address. Again, definitely email me if you do not currently have PowerSchool administrator access for your school. And I'll work on getting that done over the coming weeks. Otherwise, any questions you may have, feel free to reach out to me or anybody in our office anytime, and we are more than happy to help. Last call for questions. Let's see. And India also put something about middle school flag from TSSAA in the chat. India, did you have anything to say to the group before we dismiss?
yeah, sure. Yeah, I appreciate each and every one of you coming on board to take on this job. I know sometimes it can feel like drinking from a fire hydrant. However, we are here to help. If anytime you have any questions, please reach out to us. We would prefer the questions to help you do it appropriately and do it correctly than not to have them at all. And also make sure you lean on each other. Sometimes you all have created documents or have resources that you all can share among each other. You do not have to reinvent the wheel in this particular work. But again, I want to thank you for coming aboard. If you ever need us, please feel free to reach out. I thank you for all that you do.
And if nothing else, we will see you all on July 30th for the AD meeting coming up. Again, this was a lot of information. I'm going to send this to everybody that was on here. If you did not put your email address in the chat before you go, if you'll do that, I think I've got most of yours already, but just want to make sure I'm not missing anybody. So put your email address in the chat if you've not already done so. And if there are no more questions, I hope you all have a great day, and we will see you on July 30th.